Welcome to the Destiny of Manufacturing podcast, powered by the Precision Metal Forming Association. I am your host, Dean Phillips, and I am proud to have with me today from the Precision Metal Forming Association, I have with me our guru, our leader, our president from the PMA, Mr. David Klotz. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Dean. I like how I just rolled through on that screen. I like that. Thanks, thanks, Dean, for having me.
Absolutely. It's great to have you
Yep.
here. And of course, right away, I always like to know, what is your big takeaway for the next 5 years? What are some of the things that you've seen coming on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, great question, Dean. And and real, I want to do a shout out to you. I'm so excited you're on board with the PMA team since I did the interview last year, and but real excited that you're a part of the team and some of the things you're going to bring to the table to help us grow and expand our workforce development on the technical side. And real excited about you coming on Connie's team and the whole PMA team. And I know the PMA people, our rest of the team is very excited that you're on board. So. But good question to ask there, Dean. I think you know there's a couple things that are we're going through a strategic planning right now. So Greg Boucher, one of the things he wanted to do is when's the last time we've done some strategic planning, and let's kind of find out what our members need in the next 5 to 10 years. And it was actually after looking into it, the last time we did a major survey of our members was 2013. So it's been a while.
Wow.
And with the transition of new presidents coming on board, and then I came on board and COVID hit, a lot of things happened, and we kind of like finally the last couple of years we've been able to kind of get back to some kind of normalcy, to get back to a little bit. And I think it's a great timing, and I think it was a great choice by Greg to want to move forward with this. So we're working with a consultant. That person's interviewed and multiple members and staff. I think over 50 interviews that he's completed, and all range of different members, newer members, older members, just a full range of different kind of members, next gen. So got a take on what they're looking, and wanted to ask what they're looking for in the next 5 to 10 years. And we just recently sent a survey out to our members. So we're involving all our member base, not just the 50 that we interviewed, but all our members. And we're getting information back on that. And then we're going to build a strategic plan from that. And so what I see from it is, I think a big push on technical training is going to continue to be a major need. We've seen a big increase in the last 5 to 6 years, even since I've been on board, a big push on it. Over the last 2, 3 years, we haven't been able to keep up with the demand of implant training as it is, because we try to do it with only one person. Now you're coming on board. We're looking at expanding our footprint of how many people can do implant training for us, so we can get more people out there and helping more members. But I think it's going to continue. That's going to be a big focus in the next years, just because you know people are hiring. Companies are hiring people that have never been in the manufacturing process. Also, we see a lot of companies that are older. The baby boomer generations are definitely moving on and retiring, and some of that know-how is leaving the door, and they're going to need help. And so that's where I see a major help is at. And I think we just talked, we talked offline, having EDU is a good product to have for our members and non-members, but
Right.
it's a supplement to also all the seminars and implant training we offer. So it all works together, as one, and not one is better than the other, or one you use just one and only the way. I think the seminars, implant training, and EDU can be a great complement for a company.
Yeah, and it's a good, the way I always like to refer to it is it's a toolbox. You
Yep.
know, it's one more tool. You can't just have a screwdriver or a wrench. You sometimes need a hammer. Sometimes you need nut drivers. You need to have other tools to do all the tasks that need to be done. It can't just be done with one thing. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. It,
And
if
then,
you were,
we just launched, we just had our 14th class, our NDA class. And so it was sold out again, sells out every year. And I think we have to look at doing an NDA 2.0, and go after that same people that took NDA and try to expand on their training on that to help educate those people that can be, so they can be better leaders within their company. I think is very important that we could add, is another avenue. And then, a lot of members join us for networking, and I don't see that changing. I mean, maybe ways of networking may change over the next 5 to 10 years, but connections and understanding how people, produce a part, or what product, what technology they're using, what systems they have in place. It's great to find that out and know that, and that's why networking is so important. So I think our executive networking groups and our upper management networking groups still are going to continue to grow and expand. And that's a great way where people can get together, share ideas, talk about best practices, talk about each other, and then also go to see each other's shops and see what is being done in competitors' facilities. And I think that's going to continue to grow and be a need.
yeah, I think it's an often under discussed benefit of membership, of the how important networking really is, because when I've gone into plants, everyone struggles with similar things, but they don't really have an outlet. They can only talk in their own vacuum of what they're seeing. And it's just like if you were to have a hammer and then somebody all of a sudden brings along a punch press. It changes your world of what you can do, but you wouldn't know about it if you just stay on the one thing. If you only focused on a hammer and you want to get really good at that, at hammering, you can do that, but that may not be the best solution for you in the long run. And
Right.
I think that the network groups and a walkthrough of each other's plants is phenomenal. You,
I mean, it's what feedback we get from them. And that's why they've been so successful, is just from that knowledge gain they get, and the relationships they build with their peers. It's second to none.
yeah. And it becomes someone that they can talk to and leverage when they need a resource. Uh, we just had our technical session on plant maintenance, and one of the things that came out of that discussion was how do we communicate? Hey, I need a 1.5 inch clutch and brake valve. Do you have one? How else would you know to be able to reach out to us at PMA or reach out to your peers to try and find something like that? And I always tell people that reach out to the PMA, reach out to the organization, because we do have connections with other plants. And if you have a challenge like that, we don't want to see you down. We don't want to see, a manufacturer not being able to produce because of something that's technical, or maybe they have an HR problem. And that's why we have HR listservs.
Yep.
What?
I think um I think, yeah, and that's that communication out there, and that kind of member boards is something that has been lacking, that we haven't had. We've got a couple listservs and email services, that some groups, like an HR group that communicates, but we're moving into a new application of AMS, the associate management system, that's going to have a lot of these community boards. And so our networking groups and various different groups we can create and have these very secure, kind of boards that people can communicate, share files, and share information that way. And it will be a great way of knowledge-based learning. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about when we rolling that out during this implementation as we get into the fall and into early next year.
Looking forward to it. Well,
Yep.
can you tell some of the people that don't know about MDA, can you explain that a little bit to them?
Yeah. So yeah, it's our Mid Management Development Academy, and it was started with PJ Thompson, who was a chair, and he wanted to develop a program for mid management development. And so it's basically young leaders. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be young. Just newer leaders within their organization. They're coming up, and maybe they haven't had a lot of, let's say, management level in their background. Maybe they haven't led anybody, or haven't had to manage people, or maybe they haven't had any P&L responsibility. And so this class is a three-part series. We meet they meet usually in Cleveland. They kick it off for 3 days, and then they'll meet again. This class is going to meet in Asheville, North Carolina, for another 2-3 days, and then they wrap up at the year end in Tampa. And so they meet 3 times a year for 2-3 days, and they go over. And we have speakers that speak on, and we have a facilitator. His name's Forrest Large. He's been facilitating from the very beginning. He's outstanding. People love him. He does a great job of communicating with work, and again the group, working with people in the groups and little group and teams and pod sessions. And it's really great. People really enjoy it. It also gets them access to people they can talk to outside after they graduate. So once they graduate, they've got a group of resources they can reach out to if they're struggling, or if they have questions within their organization. They can reach out to those people that they met at MDA. So it's been very successful for PMA. Like I said, we're on our 14th class. It sells out every year. We already have 17 people listed on the wait list for next year already, for next July, which is crazy. And we try to cap it around 25 to 30 people. We don't want to grow much bigger because then it gets a little bit harder group to manage. But that's where we want to expand this and do MDA 2.0. But been a huge success, and it's really so for newcomers that are coming up within the organization that need some leadership development.
Yeah,
and the company sees value in them, and they want to give them this training. And so as I mentioned in my speech to them, I met with them last week when I met with the class and said, hey, your company is investing in you, and so they're respecting you. They're expecting that you're going to grow up. And I actually made some stories that there's people that were in the first or second class that was an MDA. Now they're vice presidents, or actually a couple of people are presidents of their organization now, 10 years or 14 years later. Crazy. And I told them, I said, take advantage of this. You got a great opportunity to grow within your company.
I think that's an undervalued thing. Sometimes we don't always look at identifying leaders and saying, hey, this person might be good to lead us, but then where do you find those skills? I think that we think, oh, well, that person needs to go back to school for get their MBA. But I don't know if that's necessarily what everybody needs. If you can identify certain skill sets that they need some improvement on, I think that can take them just as far.
Yep, agreed. But it's been awesome, and it's led by Connie and Julia Gannon that helps you put together the meeting. Connie King, our workforce development director, puts together the content and the speakers, and it's been really great. And Forrest does a phenomenal job as a facilitator. So can't say enough about him.
Yeah, tremendous. And let's talk about some of the other things that we've got coming up. Of course, we've got Fab Tech coming up this year, and it's in a new city. How did that come about?
Yeah, so Orlando's a new spot for us. We were supposed to be in Vegas this year, and as everyone, maybe so many people don't know, but we go to Chicago every other year, and then the opposite year of Chicago, we usually go to Atlanta or Vegas. Well, this year we were supposed to go to Vegas, and we had a date set, and Formula One decided to come into Vegas and last year, and they're back in this year, and it's kind of on top of our dates, and so we had to move it because it wouldn't be affordable for people to come to Vegas with Formula One there. We could still do it, but just cost wise and make it economical for people, it just didn't make sense. So we had to look to a different venue and different dates. We were able to find Orlando, And there's actually only really six, maybe seven cities that can host FabTech, based on the size, the venue, the weight of what the venue can hold, because of a lot of the equipment, that FabTech brand brings. So there's really, because of the weights and size, it's a big issue, it's a big deal, and it's a big, it's a big show for that city, for us to be there. And so we were able to find Orlando. It's new this year. I think it's going to be an outstanding show. The feedback so far with pre-registration is really positive. We know some other shows that are similar to ours that are maybe in the plastic industry have gone to Orlando and have never looked back and has been very successful, because there's so many places to stay down there. You can find various different lodging options for people, and a lot of people, and flights you can usually get to Orlando pretty cheap. So I think it's going to be a great show. It's a great facility, and we're looking forward to it. So that's coming up in October. Before that, in September, we have one of our signature events. It's automotive parts. It's automotive parts supplier conference, and it's usually I think we're going on our 32nd or 33rd year of the auto parts event, and we focus on our automotive members, that are giving them updates on what they see for forecast numbers for the next over the next year to the next 5-10 years. Obviously, in the last few years, it's gotten into the EV discussions, and we have EV speakers. We also have someone coming on and speaking on heavy truck, because a lot of our members do automotive and heavy truck. So we got someone coming in from speaking from Cummins on the heavy truck side. And so we also have our famous attorney, Dan Sharkey. He represents some of our members on negotiating with tier ones and OEMs, so contract stuff. So he goes on the panel, and usually I'm on stage with him and kind of talk about that. And then we always have a panel discussion. So we have a smaller member size and then a larger member size, and then we have a facilitator talking to them about current things they're seeing in the industry. So it gives the audience a perspective from a member of maybe a $50 to $70 million size company to, and then one of the other companies is more of a $200-300 million company with multiple plants. So
Gotcha.
That's huge. That's a huge success for us. We've had it for many years, and look forward to that in September. And then, as I mentioned, FabTech, and then right after FabTech, we have our international conference, ICOSPA, where a few of us are going to be going to Japan. The International Congress is in Japan, in Osaka this year, and that's the end of October. So every 3 years we have this international conference, and last one was in UK, and this time it's in Osaka, Japan. I'm really excited about that. Going to be talking Aida Pretz, Komatsu is speaking, Amada is speaking. There's 2 people from Honda that are speaking, and then we're doing plant tours, of course. And then after that, in 3 years, 2027, we have to host it here in the United States. And so we're working on the details on that. And since the last time we hosted that was 2008. So those are kind of some bigger events coming up. And obviously, we have our local districts that are heating up in the fall with their events. Tennessee and Indiana and West Michigan and Twin Cities, all of them are going to start having events ready. Lone Star are going to start having events, and so that will be obviously busy for the fall.
Right. And who would benefit from going to some of these conferences?
Well, if you're automotive or you're looking to get into automotive, the automotive conference is phenomenal, and it really gives you an idea where the automotive industry is going. Obviously, there's a big transition right now, and how much EV is going to move over. Obviously, the election coming up is going to change something. If it changes, if it goes one direction, it could change really that demand of EVs, or and if it stays the way it is right now, that EV push is going to continue. But I think the market needs to drive where it goes, and not government. My take on it. I think we'll eventually get there, but I don't know the demand and forcing it is helping it. But the automotive is going through a major transition now. But anybody that's in supplying automotive should go to it. Anyone looking to get an automotive should go to it to hear some of the latest information in the auto industry. And then the international conference, it was actually started, probably been together now for almost 70 years. This international group, it's us, UK, France, and Germany, China, and Japan. It was basically a PMA like us in all those different countries. And it was started just back when it started, it was obviously started before email. It was just and video conference, and it was a way to get international groups together to learn each other and how they do business and not network. And maybe you can get together, maybe a joint venture with somebody, or work on a new relationship with maybe a peer that's somewhere in another country. So that was really the gist of it over the years, and it's just really developed. And it's a great conference. We'll probably have over 200 and probably 225 people in Osaka for the conference. The one we have in the U.S. will probably have over 300 people come to it, and in 2027. But and then the local districts, it's all either a golf outing, or it's going to be a plant tour coming up, or there's going to be a specific speaker. So that will all focus on depending on what the interest of the member would be.
Right. And anything on the horizon going on in the either in the advocacy side or anything else that you'd like to?
Yeah, advocacy is a big, obviously, and very important. We are going to be surveying our members, but we usually survey them in January. We're probably going to do it a little bit earlier this year and survey the members and find out really what they want us to focus on coming up in the 2025. Obviously, with the election coming up, that's going to be really matters. What some things are going to happen. The R&D tax expense, R&D expensing is still something we're trying to fight hard to get that reversed. And then the 80-degree heat rule that's happening. So we're continuing fighting on the Hill. Our partners, Franklin Partnership and Omar and John, they do a great job for us there. And then supported by Bracewell, Paul Nathanson and Caitlin Sickles, they do a phenomenal job of helping us in DC. And then we've got our fly-in that will be coming up in April in 2025, when we'll go in and do a fly-in and go in front of our representatives, the senators and congresspeople, to push on the issues that we're trying to, maybe some bills that we're trying to get passed that support our members and the manufacturing.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we don't always understand that PMA, the A stands for an association, which means that everybody contributes to the success of everybody else. Yep. Sometimes we don't always understand that we are all contributors as much as we are utilizers of these information, the benefits, the networking. It is definitely a give and take that we can utilize.
One last, I think it's so important, and it's so important that they fill and our members fill out the survey because then we will focus on the top 5 issues that they're looking for. Workforce development continues to be a need for our members, developing it, and then also promoting the trades and stuff like that. And we still need, that's where we need our government help to help promote the trades. And they've got the money that they can do the ads, the government does, and the focus on that of really promoting the trades. We really need the government to keep pushing that. We've been discussing that for the last 20 years. So,
yeah, well, it sounds like I know I sound like a broken record sometimes when I tell people that, but I guess that's the only way you get things to change, just keep saying that.
And real quick, a couple other events that are coming up. We also have a ERP kind of shootout that's happening. Metal Forming Magazine, along with PMA, is putting that on. That's going to be in Cleveland. That's coming up shortly here in August. And then they've got also Metal Forming's got Metal Forming Live happening. And then the last thing later in the year is our hot stamping conference that Metal Forming along with PMA puts on. So Metal Forming's got a great, a couple good events coming up. And that I'll do a little plug. If you haven't looked at August issue coming up, please make sure you read it. It's a really good issue on various different sensors and um, different, obviously different topics in this issue, but a really strong issue. I highly recommend our members take a look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Metal Forming Magazine has tremendous articles and has a long been. I have a stack, and I kid you not, I have probably a stack of reprinted articles from my days at Niagara in the early 90s that I still keep to this day because a
Yeah,
lot of information is still valuable throughout your career. So
right.
please utilize it. So tell us why you got involved with the Precision Metal Forming Association.
Why did I get involved in PM? Okay. Well, the funny story, I think, and I mentioned this a few times. Uh, so my family had a stamping company in South Bend, Indiana, and then we had a division up in Troy, Michigan. So after I graduated, I came up to Troy, Michigan, and started working. And I was literally 2 months into the role, and I was told by my boss, Joe Gentilia, and I'll tell I mention his name all the time. He tells me to go over and visit or go to this meeting that's in Farmington Hills. So it's another suburb here in Detroit area. Go to Farmington Hills and there's a meeting. I said, "What's the meeting about?" He goes, "Don't worry about it. Just go to it." And I go to it. It's a PMA event, and it was some technical speaker speaking. Went there, kind of talked to some people, network, and afterwards I came out of there and I was assistant treasurer. And I'm like, "What's I had an accounting degree in the back. I have an accounting degree, and they're like, "Oh, you had an accounting degree? Then you can help us out and for the district and be on the district board and be the assistant treasurer." So I ended up getting involved that way, and I never looked back. I've been involved with the districts um, for all of my earlier career. Ended up being the treasurer, then ended up being the chair of the district. I was golf chair, and again, I ran the local district. As I moved in my career, I got more involved nationally and got on the board and some executive committees, and got participated, more of that. So ever since I've been either like, we sold our company, family business. I got into the software for the last 15 years. I've always been part of PMA and been involved. I've always been in the manufacturing side. So I thought it was really important. I've never seen an association like PMA. I've been involved with other associations, but I've never seen an association like PMA that helps each other and networks. And I'll see competitors touring each other's shops, and you just don't see that in other associations. It's crazy. I try to tell this story to people, they don't believe me, and it's the only thing I've ever seen in an associate that does this. They really look out for each other, and they'll help each other if someone's in need or help. With a customer or something like that, they'll do it. And so, been in part of that. That's how I've been involved with PMA, and then 6 years ago. Now it's almost on 7 years now. I was asked, to run the association, and I really enjoy it. Now I'm behind the scenes and all the day-to-day stuff. We have an amazing team at PMA. The staff has been amazing. We've added some new people. We've had some people come back to the staff that were part of the staff left, and we were able to get them back. And we just really got an outstanding team, and association's in a really good spot right now, and good supporting cast that care about our members. And so that's how I kind of got involved with PMA, and I've been now running things for the last 6 to 7 years.
Tremendous. Well, we're glad to have you here, and tell people how they can reach you.
Yeah, I'm on the road a lot, so you can definitely email me at dklotz@pma.org. You can always text me. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me because I'm on the road so much. Because I live in Michigan, but our members, almost 1,000 members are across the country. So I try to go visit as many members I can, or I attend as many events that we have. But text message is always best to try to call, or pick up and call me as well.
Right. David, thank
And
you so much.
all I want to just, and last thing I want to end, just, I want to our members out there, thank you for being a member. I say this a lot. I try to say this as much as possible. I thank you. We appreciate your support to the association. And, we appreciate it. And we greatly appreciate the support. If you're a non-member, we'd love to talk to you about membership, and become a PMA member. Again, we have a lot of different ways you can get involved with PM. We've got the district level, we've got the national level, we got the magazine, we do advocacy, like you said, we got workforce development, a lot of different areas that we can help support a company. And a lot of times I get calls, hey, do you know somebody that can help me with this, or do you know somebody with that? And I try to make a connection there, and a lot of other team members do the same. So we're out there helping, and we'd love to take care of you.
Yeah, we're here to support you.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, David, for being here today. And we really appreciate all of our listeners for joining in and listening to this podcast, whether you're listening to it or you're viewing it on YouTube or through our video channel through our website. We really appreciate you. So please leave a comment, question. If you think that other people might benefit from this, please share it and like it, depending on where you are and how they, whether you have to ring the bell, you share it, a thumbs up, whatever way, on whichever platform you're utilizing it. We would really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.